All right. You got a big group of people around you that want to see you be successful. So whatever success means to you, that's what we want to help you get, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, today we're going to talk about wealth building. When you hear me say wealth building, let's just do a little bit of kind of brainstorm together. What do you guys think of? What's the first thing that you hear? Who wants to start?
Lots of assets.
Assets. Okay, good. I'm going to take some notes so I can come back to stuff. What else does wealth mean to you guys?
I think of generational, like something that will be here for my children.
Generational. All right, very good. Throw them out there. Who else? Okay. You know, it's obviously going to be pretty difficult to cover, you know, every little topic that I want to cover with respect to wealth in 26 minutes. Good morning, Tawantis. Tawantis is new to our market center as well. Say hello to everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hi, everybody.
All right. She's got a pretty thriving business coming to us from Virtual Properties. So welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So when you guys hear me say the word wealth, what pops into your mind? Generational wealth, lots of assets are some of the ideas that we've shared so far. What else?
Security.
Security. I like that. Okay. Any other comments?
Independence, financial independence.
What does that mean to you, Rhonda? If I were to say, are you financially independent? You don't have to answer personally, but are you financially independent or are you not financially independent? What's the threshold?
Owing anything to anyone. Money.
Okay, so that's actually quite a different definition of financial independence than I would say. Financially independent from anyone would be like, let's say that you don't have any debts, like you don't have a home mortgage, you don't have a credit card debt, yet you don't have an income either. I would say I'm financially independent, right? Or you have a very modest income. Is that financial independence, or is financial independence basically when you don't worry about money anymore?
Don't worry about money anymore.
Right.
Okay. Okay, good.
Financial independence to me would have enough wealth to pay for our lifestyle in our retirement.
Now, is that money personally generated income, or is that passive income?
Passive, where I don't, it just comes in every month and I don't have to work. Charlie didn't have to work.
Okay, good. So we have a bit of a different definition now, which is and this is Gary Keller's definition, we earn enough passive income to cover our desired lifestyle, however big or small that happens to be, right? So if your desired lifestyle is $3 grand a month, great. If it's 30 grand a month, you got that figured out too, right?
Yes.
Gosh, just saying that makes me want to go get some more wealth for my next generations.
All right.
30 grand a month. Cool. Let's go do some fun stuff.
Have you set your goals?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I got a binder full of goals. Okay. One of the things, who's read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Me.
I have before.
Okay. And he has another book that's called the Cash Flow Quadrant. Have you guys ever read that?
No.
Yes.
So this is this. It's a little, let's see if you guys can see this a little bit better. So much fun to have a whiteboard in my office now. Oh, Rhonda, I'm going to love you. You laugh at everything I say. This is awesome. You can come to as many meetings as you want.
I'm happy.
All right.
Don't get used to it, Bill. She's new.
What's that?
She's new.
This is awesome. Okay, so I'll quickly go through this, okay? 4 quadrants. This is the E quadrant, the S quadrant, the B, and the I. Okay, this is an employee. You trade time for money. Okay, this is you clock in, you clock out, you get paid for however much time you're there. Okay, this is a self-employed person. This is a one-man, one-woman show. Okay, let's say that you are a self-employed plumber. Okay, you got one set of tools, you got one truck, and you're the only man that works. When you got a family event or you want to take a vacation, the business stops. Make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You essentially own your job. You also trade time for money. You just happen to be the one that dictates how much time or how much money. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
B is you're a business owner. The way that you determine whether you're a business owner or not is there any job that's got to get done that ultimately somebody else does, right? If you have introduced into your world the concept of leverage, then you, to some degree, are a business owner. You are either leveraging time or people, okay? An example of that could be something like somebody comes and cleans my house, or somebody comes and mows my grass, or somebody does my administrative work for my real estate business, that kind of thing. Okay, you're leveraging time and people, okay? And I is you're leveraging money. You're simply an investor, okay? Now, when you own an organization that you don't necessarily have a job in other than the owner, the less time you spend staring at the numbers and the plan and being involved in setting the vision and working with your leaders, you're going to notice that your investment starts to dry up a little bit, right? But there are completely passive investments. That would be something like, let's say I own 20 shares of Nike. I'm not involved in anything with respect to the Nike business model or leadership meetings or reporting or any of that stuff. I just get paid a dividend, right? But even investing in real estate is not completely passive. Does that make sense? Because every once in a while you're going to get a call that says, hey, something's leaking. I just spent 6 weeks trying to deal with 2 different leaks in a rental condo. And the second it all got done, literally the next day, she calls me and says the toilet's not working. Right? So that, believe me, it ain't passive. Okay. So guess what? 95% of the world earns their money on this side of the quadrant. Okay. Which leaves 5% of the world, which earns their money over here. Interestingly enough, 5% of the world's wealth is over here. And over here, remember, that's 5% of the world earns their money this way. However, 95% of the money is over on that side of the quadrant. So let me ask you a simple question. Knowing that, which side of the quadrant would you prefer to be on?
The right side.
That's right. Okay. So what we want to do is have that. That's kind of the basic theory behind wealth, right? Is how can we spend our energy and our income to create assets that we can either leverage systems, tools, technology, people, right? And obviously compensate them fairly and treat them right and all that, but ultimately leverage those ideas to generate more wealth. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys can answer these questions out loud if you'd like. Is there anybody that has a net that is currently tracking their net worth? Anybody other than Julian? Would anyone know how to track their net worth if I asked you?
No.
Okay, let's do a quick lesson on that. We're going to take all the things that have value that you own. Okay, that could be your cars, your stock certificates, your real estate, your business equity, your artwork, collectibles, that kind of stuff. Okay, Then we're going to take everything that we own that has debt, all the assets that we have, right? And then we're going to subtract all the debt we have. So if I own a $500,000 home, I got a $500,000 net worth. Actually, I have a $400,000 mortgage on it. Now I have a $100,000 net worth. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I want you guys to know that as long as you're getting value, I'll continue to teach some of these concepts. I want to be very careful with, number one, this is just my opinion. I've studied a lot of this and I've learned a lot. Okay. And to be honest, I have some unusual thoughts about, when I say unusual, I mean not conventional thoughts on wealth building, right? Every financial guru out there, I don't agree with. Okay. You got to remember who a lot of these people are speaking to, right? Susie Orman's kind of speaking to a certain group. Dave Ramsey's kind of speaking to a certain group, and Robert Kiyosaki and, you know, some of these other thought leaders are speaking to an entirely different group, right? So kind of know who the person's audience is. So this could be a long-term kind of a thing that we do. We don't necessarily have to do it every single week, but I want to let you know that part of growing your personal development and your skill set and your business is also knowing what to do with all the assets that you're earning, all the income that you're earning, and making sure that you're super responsible with your personal budgets and your business budgets. Should I ask if anyone operates off of a personal budget or a business budget? Anyone want to raise their hand? Let me ask a different way. Is there anyone on the call today that actually reviews a family personal budget every month?
Yeah, I review my budget.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yes.
Everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Mike, you don't have to answer this out loud, but please make sure that you're reviewing your business budget too. Okay? Create it, review it, investigate it. Okay? Because that's our shovel, y'all. That's the big engine behind building all this generational wealth and assets. We do see that connection, right?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. So I've studied a lot of financial concepts, and I have a lot to share, and I really enjoy talking about it. Okay, one thing that I want to share with you. This is a slide from Quantum Leap. Okay, Quantum Leap is probably some of my favorite KW material. Okay, I'm going to share this with you guys. Hopefully it didn't just freeze my computer. All right, can you guys see that yet?
No.
No.
Not yet.
It's coming. So again, net worth, we're going to take all of our assets. We're going to subtract all of our liabilities. Okay, that's what we're going to do to determine our net worth. I started tracking my net worth in February or so. What is going on with this Zoom thing? Hang on. Can y'all see it now?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
It says you're right back.
All right, thank you. Oh, here we go. Okay. Do you guys see this page over here that says goal is $100,000 in passive income after taxes annually?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
let's just go through this real fast, okay? Let's just say that you use your economic kind of engine, if you will, which is your real estate business. It might be other stuff, but I'm going to assume that I believe most of us rely on our real estate business here to fund the vast majority of our lifestyle, right? So let's just say that we make $100,000 a year in income. We take off 30% for taxes. Let's not make this into a tax discussion, okay? Roughly 30%, you're left with $70,000, okay? Let's be super liberal and say we're going to invest almost half of the money that's left, which is $30,000 a year, and live off of 40. Okay, so I'd say that's being super generous. Okay, $30,000 times 10, you get $300,000. That's 10 years of working. If you work for 20 years, you got 600 grand. 40 years, you got $1.2 million. So what do we know here? If you look back up at the top, if you got $1 million at the bank and you're making 4% off of it, or some type of long-term investment, and you're averaging 4%, that's going to help you get $40,000 a year in passive income. You need $2.5 million in assets at 4% to get 100 grand. You'd have to work 80 years to get $2.4 million in assets. Or you'd have to save $120,000 for 20 years or $60,000 for 40 years. What's your aha? You're not going to save your way to wealth. You're going to need to make investments. That's the aha, right? You're going to have to make investments.
Right.
And you're going to have to make investments that are as lucrative and as profitable as possible. Let me throw out an idea here. Have you guys ever heard when I'm challenging you guys to make a business investment, and we say, oh, well, we shouldn't make a business investment unless we're going to get 3 to 4x our money minimum, with a true desire to be closer to 10%, or not 10%, but 10x, right? So I spend $100 on some class, and I come out of there and I go get an extra commission check and make an extra 10 grand. That's an awesome return, right? Or I spend $50 on Facebook command ads and I get myself a listing, right? The strongest investment, the most lucrative investment that you're going to have is one that you make in yourself or your business, right? Because if we throw money at Coca-Cola, we'll be lucky to make 8%. If we invest in our business and we get a marginal return of 3 to 1, that's 300%. Does everyone follow that?
Yeah.
So one of the best investments that you guys can make as business owners is to invest in yourself, not finding something else that somebody else has control over and throwing money blindly at it, right? Which is what is kind of it's kind of the way of the world a little bit, right? Does anyone have retirement accounts and they have no clue what's in their retirement accounts? Right? Do you know what's going on in the stock room, in the boardrooms of Nike and Coca-Cola and Home Depot and Walmart and Facebook and all these places? Of course not, right? So would I be better off taking that same money that I would have invested and stick it into something I have more control over, right? Whenever I'm thinking about making an investment, I say to myself, who's making all the decisions that are going to impact whether this is good or not good? Right? Right? So my question is if you want to get wiser and make more strategic decisions and investments, how much time each week or each month or each year are you actually spending learning about money? Right?
Right.
Okay, I don't want to get political here, but we just printed $6 trillion. Right? And more is probably coming. Do you think the power of the dollar is going to be better in a year? Probably not. Right? So there's a lot of things that you got to really understand to understand how to put yourself in position for wealth. Now, many of you guys know that I have, one other fact I want to share with you before I move on to that. Did you guys know that 3/4 of Americans' wealth is tied up in real estate? 3/4 of our country's wealth is in real estate. What does that tell you? Not only did we pick a cool industry, but we are the gatekeepers for all that. Okay, every piece of property that goes on the market went through our hands first, right? Every home that's on the market, we had an opportunity to be involved before it got on the market, and now that it's on the market, we have an opportunity, right? So listen to this. I've kind of talked to a few of you, I think, individually about this whole iBuyer craze. Okay, so Julian, I sit with you and I say, all right, Mr. Seller, all the data here supports the fact that I think you have a $400,000 home. Okay, now, and the seller says, well, Zillow will buy it for me in 2 weeks. Say, great, let's call Zillow together. Hand me your phone, right? and you call Zillow together, you give them all the data they need to give you a bid, and the bid comes in at what, 325? Right? It's gonna be 25%, 20 to 25% off of the fair market value, most likely.
Mhm.
Say, hey, you want to talk to Zillow? Great. I want to talk to them too. Let's do this together. Remember, you're on the same team. It's not adversarial. You're on the same team, right? So, hey, if Zillow's algorithm is off and they give you 395 and they'll give you cash in 2 weeks, let's do it. I'll help you, right? It's a great deal. Remember, sometimes we get paid to help people buy homes and sell homes. Sometimes we get paid to do that, and sometimes we just are involved in the process and there'll be another opportunity later, right? When I asked Zillow for a bid on my home, they gave me a pretty damn low number. Had their algorithm messed up, I would have sold my home to Zillow. So you never know. But most of the time, it's going to be 20 to 25% off. So I say, Julian, would you be willing to sell your home in 2 weeks with absolutely virtually no hassle and leave 100 grand on the table? Okay, you would say the same thing as me. No. However, clearly there are people that are doing that. So why should I let Zillow take the 100 grand profit? Why don't I buy it? You could be your own iBuyer, right?
Mhm.
Julian, if I called you and said, oh my gosh, I have zero money, but I just left an appointment where the $500,000 seller is willing to sell for 400. Would you be interested in this? Right? You'd say, yeah, in fact, you can have 10. Thank you very much. Woo, now I got some cash. Let's make some investments. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So the question is can you operate like an iBuyer, right? Can you start thinking about opportunity that way, right? I'm not suggesting everyone go out and start an iBuyer business, but understand that when some company swoops in and buys something with no inconvenience, they're not doing that because they're friendly. They're doing that because they have a motive. And interestingly enough, Zillow, this isn't about Zillow, but interestingly enough, Zillow went on record saying they're not even intending to make a profit. They're doing all this simply for the data. So does that tell you you're with the right organization? Because we've been playing the data game for 38 years.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, I'll end on some notes with profit share. Okay. Many guys, if you guys know that I've gotten super purposeful about profit share over the years. And I kind of had an epiphany where, we're told as real estate agents, hey, let's go find some sellers and court them and provide our services to them and all that. Oh, and let's do the same thing with buyers, right? So we're going to call this number of people a day, where it's all metrics, and we're going to set goals and we're going to track it and we're going to get into the activity, right? So I said to myself one day, well, why can't, and I didn't come up with this idea. I just was hanging out with the right people, right? So why can't you do that with agents, right? Agents that are going to get into the business, or maybe agents that are at a different firm that need what you want, or I'm sorry, want what you have, right? Or maybe even don't know they want it yet, but if you get into enough conversation with them and ask them enough questions, you'll find out what they're struggling with, and then you can provide the medicine for that, right? And I've been fortunate enough to attract a lot of people to Keller Williams. Well, the good news is it's a sincere approach, because this company's had a profound impact on the way I think and the type of income I have and the opportunities that I've been offered, right? So can that be part of your plan, right? I mean, we're an open book company, and I didn't get you guys on this call to tell you my numbers, but you could look them up. Between my wife and I last year, we made just over $70,000 in profit share.
Mhm.
Okay. Just me, it was a little over $55,000. So not only did Keller Williams pay me to be there, meaning I didn't pay a cap or royalty or anything. I mean, I paid it, but I earned it back, if you know what I'm saying. I'm not getting a sweetheart deal, trust me. Okay. No one is, by the way. That's a significant amount of money, right? Most people retire when they, when the school system tells them they can retire, and they live off of $1,500 in Social Security, and they hope to God that their house payment is paid off, and that's their retirement, right? So are you investing in anything that's going to, send off passive income? Let's do some quick math. Okay, at that 4%, I'm basically looking at having what is that? That's about, let's call it 1.7, $1.8 million worth of assets, generating that passive return and sending to my family on the 21st of every month my earnings, right? Now, how did I get that 1.7? I didn't have to earn it. I didn't have to save it. I didn't have to watch the investment other than to pour into the people that I've been lucky enough to attract to KW. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for example, if you bring somebody to the company that's going to cap their that's going to cap, according to our numbers over the last 10 years or so, that's been approximately, this is not an earnings guarantee. I've seen it as low as about $2,200 and as high as close to $3,000. But let me just say $2,500 on average. If you attract somebody to Keller Williams and they cap, their direct sponsor will receive somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,500 each year. Okay, $2,500. That's the equivalent of having $100,000 in the bank. Right? Are you thinking about it that way? Now, just as easy as they came, they can leave just as fast. Right? So getting them in the door is step 1 out of 1,000. Right? Now you got to pour into them. This is Tawantis's first day. I got to pour into you because if you're not happy and you're not making money, you ain't gonna stick around.
Right.
Is that fair to say?
Fair to say. No.
Okay. So now we're all in this together. You know what I'm saying? Okay. One of the things that I want you to the takeaways from session 1 are, number 1, who is in control?
Yeah.
Okay. When given an opportunity to make an investment, let's say you want to buy, you got $500 and you want to buy some stock. Okay. You're going to put it into an organization that you have no control over. I'm not suggesting not buying stock. I'm just suggesting being educated, right? Are you going to buy Amazon because it's the flashy thing? I don't know. Amazon's like at all-time highs right now. Is this the right time to buy Amazon? I don't know. Right? Are you going to buy, weed stock because people say that's cool? Right? Or are you actually going to do the research to see whether that is a viable investment? Right? Is now the time to buy Home Depot? Is now the time to buy Walmart? Do your research. Don't just blindly throw money at things, guys. This money can be either super powerful or super not powerful. Okay? Real estate. Hey, we got an opportunity to buy a lot of real estate investment. Is today the right time to buy real estate investments?
Yep.
Possibly. I would say if I was a real estate investor, I would probably not be buying right now. I'd probably be buying in a year or 2 after we figure out what's going on with what this does to the unemployment and we got a lot of shifts going on, many of which are completely out of our control. We got a political shift, we got a social change issue, or a huge social change issue, right? We have, or several major social change issues, right? We have a political issue, we have a health crisis. I mean, there's just a lot of unknowns right now. And if I was a betting man, I'd say we're a hell of a lot closer to the height of the market than the bottom of the market. Would you guys agree with that? Okay.
Right.
So right now I'm stashing cash. There'll be opportunities later. Now, the way you get access to those opportunities is to be in relationship with the people who believe that you're a great person and that you would be a great teammate, right? Many of you guys know that I'm a part of Keller Williams Israel, right? I only got that opportunity because I knew the right people and I had the right skill set that they were desiring when they were looking for investors, right? And so it worked out nicely. But if I didn't know those people, or I didn't have the capital, right, then I wouldn't have been fortunate enough to obtain that opportunity or earn that opportunity. Does that make sense? Okay, what are you guys thinking? My biggest aha here is no one's tracking their net worth. No one's tracking their net worth. So I'm going to challenge you guys. So sometimes we don't want to track our numbers. I just heard this on a podcast coming in this morning. Sometimes we don't want to track our numbers, and this is the business numbers too, the weekly metric, because of one of two reasons. Either we know we're not going to change and we don't want to look at the fact that it is what it is, because it upsets us, it depresses us, right? Or we know it's going to be so obvious that we just have to change, and people don't like change, right? We're going to have to change the way where we focus and where our attention is, and how we use our time and who we hang out with and these kind of things, right? So I tell you, I sat in a class, a financial class at Family Reunion, and literally net worth calculation. I'm going to be totally vulnerable with you guys. Net worth calculation had been on my 411 for like 2+ years. 2+ years. I looked at it every freaking day. I'll get around to that, right? Over 2 years, I stared at that, and I didn't do it. And I sat down in this financial class at Family Reunion, and I said, I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now. And the number that I thought I had, my number was about 3 times that, right? So it could be better than you think. But you guys, we can't fix what we don't know. We can't address what we don't know, right? So take all of the stuff that you own, your cars, your home, your stock certificates, whatever it is, and then look at all the debt that you have, right? Whether it's student loan debt or credit card debt or mortgage debt or whatever. And let's compare the two, because I will tell you something. You're not going to be able to take the most logical, strategic steps to improve it if you don't first have an awareness of it. Okay. And we're not going to be able to, because you might look at that. I mean, I tell you, I'm in the middle of trying to debate selling my condo right now, or my investment condo, because it's just not returning the type of money. Like I have a couple $100s a month in passive income, but I just spent like an ungodly amount of hours tending to this thing, and it's pissing me off, right? And I look at it and I say, oh my gosh, like, and I love my tenant. I love her. She's awesome. And as soon as this last thing gets fixed, I'm going to approach her and say, look, I will give you a better deal than you're going to find on the market. Okay.
Yeah. Why don't you owner finance it to her? And then you have all of the financing income. If you love her and she's a great tenant, she pays your rent on time, owner financing it is a great option.
Let me tell you, Jan, I love her, but I'm not going to be her bank. She can get her own bank. I'm not going to owner finance it to her at 4%. Hell, I can make more than that off doing something different. I'd rather have the cash, right? The bank's job is they make money by loaning money, right? I don't make money by loaning money. I don't want to charge her interest. I just want to go do other stuff with it. We can if I want to hang out with her, I'll go take her for a drink. I don't need to be her landlord or her bank.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
But once you're her bank, you're getting all the interest she's paying for her mortgage. You're still getting your $200 a month passive income, and you have no expenses. So your passive income is going to increase exponentially.
I appreciate your thought on that. And I promise you, I will give it some thought. I'm going to run some math because you've challenged me, but we'll see what happens. My thought is I probably have, I don't know, maybe $60,000 or so of equity in that property. I'd rather sell that at the height of the market and go buy 2 properties that are worth $120 a piece and rent those out. And I'll have a lot more than $200 in passive income. Or I'd rather stuff it under my mattress for 2 years and then go do the same thing I just said in 2 years. See what I'm saying? Okay. So one of the things I want to teach you guys about profit share. Okay. Profit share is the biggest no-brainer in the history of the world. Okay. Only roughly 30% of our associates company-wide have ever been paid a profit share check. That number just shocks me. Okay. So the first step in becoming purposeful about profit share is having a story to tell, right? Is to be able to say, hey, I love Keller Williams because Keller Williams has done this for me, right? I didn't think the way I thought 10 years ago before I came here. I had a business that I was dragging around all day, and I was doing 100% of the work. And yeah, I did well financially, but I didn't even have any time to spend it, right? I did not have a great quality of life, in my opinion. I wasn't particularly worried about the mortgage, but I wasn't having a lot of fun either, right? So the question is how can we use our engine, our real estate engine, to throw off a lot of profit? And profit is a whole different discussion, which we can go into a lot of detail on, right? To make investments in that support our passive income goals. And how can we dedicate a certain amount of time to having an awareness of, can we create our story, right? So Ebony, can I use you for an example? Right, so Ebony joins the company 4 months ago or so, right? She's having fun, she's learning a lot of stuff, right? It's not gonna be long before she's cashing checks left and right, and she's gonna have a hell of a story to share, right? Now you just gotta go share it, okay? And the majority of the people that are out there in the real estate space, the average realtor in Atlanta sells 3 homes a year, guys, right? They're not making a living, right? So all you got to do is share your experience with somebody who isn't having that type of experience. And the next thing you know, they want a piece of it. Is that right? Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
And then it naturally happens, right? And then you just, when something is important to you, you dedicate time for it, right? If you looked at my calendar, you'd know exactly what was important to me, right? If you looked at my credit card statement, you'd know exactly what's important to me. I spend money on certain things and I don't spend money on certain things, right? So would your calendar convict you, or would your credit card statement convict you, or would it very clearly say, hey, I'm responsible and educated, and this is what I decide to spend money on? Like my wife, she has a couple of outfits that, I mean, I'm not afraid to admit, and she doesn't really care about it. She wore that stuff in middle school, but she's freaking got a really cool computer, right? You see what I'm saying? Like her computer, man, she could cook dinner with that thing. But her shirt, she doesn't care about that. You see what I'm saying? It's like, what are you spending money on, and is that supporting your long-term goals? My wife is an artist. She's a photographer. She needs a flashy computer, right? See what I'm saying?
Right.
All right. I could talk about this forever. I appreciate you letting me stand on a soapbox for a little while. I would love to continue these types of discussions. There's many different segments of wealth building that can be discussed. Everything from real estate investing to profit share to life insurance, to all kinds of stuff. So I spend a pretty unusual amount of time learning about this kind of stuff, and I'm happy to share all the things that I'm learning. So if there's a specific topic that you'd like me to cover or want to know more about, just send it to me offline, and we'll incorporate that into future classes, okay?
Yes.
All right, beautiful. The biggest takeaway, guys, is ain't no wealth happening unless there's income happening.
Right.
Right. So let's go out there and secure some market share. Let's go get into relationships with more people that need our services so that we can help them get what they want, and then we can get what we want. Okay.
Got it.
All right, y'all. Mortgage 101 at 1 o'clock today. I'll see you then.
Bye.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.